I'm Jenny, and this is my sister Amelia, and her Ed's two daughters. I think we can all agree that Ed has put in the hours. We traveled a lot when we were growing up, and one of our favorite games to play was Where's Dad? For those of you who know our mom, you can confirm that she often has trouble determining her own whereabouts. So her answers were always entertaining. He's in Egypt, Japan. Japan, definitely Japan. 5 minutes later, the phone would ring. Oh, I should do it this way. It's Ed, not Dad. Always Ed. Leaving the office. Yeah, bye. About an hour later, we would hear a loud rumbling, and Ed's car, the bomb, which was held together with duct tape, would pull into the garage. Ed would come in the back door, give us each a high five with a double fist pump victory fist. Then go into his office to listen to voicemails while Amelia and I reenacted The Little Mermaid at full volume. Coincidentally, The Little Mermaid was the first movie we ever saw in the theaters, and took us. For us, it was a great adventure. For Ed, it was the beginning of a long tradition of increasingly expensive naps. Continued on in this way for a number of years. Sometimes Ed would make it home for dinner. Sometimes he was actually in Japan. But every weekend was the same. Ed would do the crossword puzzle, always in pen, and we would have lunch with our grandparents. Or if they were busy and our mom was not at the house for some reason, we would have brownies and ice cream for lunch. Ed's not much of a cook. When our dad was really busy, we wouldn't even see him during the week. There would be evidence that he had made a brief appearance at the house in the dead of the night. Margie would report that his pillow looked slept on, or the leftovers from dinner would be eaten. One time I awoke to find an English paper that I had printed out and left on the kitchen table, completely marked up in red pen. So either there was a grammar-obsessed ghost in the house, or my dad just really wanted to make sure that I got an A. We used to joke that he was a robot because he could function on so little sleep. He was tired though. We'd catch him nodding off on the couch, doing the crossword puzzle in front of the TV, sometimes even at dinner, and he'd always deny it. We'd say, "Dad, wake up," and he'd say, "Wasn't sleeping." The thing is, Dad, is that you're not as smooth as you think you are. I looked at the channel and it was the Lifetime movie. And I'm like, Dad, wasn't sleeping. Like, if there was any time where you should admit to sleeping, it's when the Lifetime. Oh. To be honest, we didn't totally get Ed when we were little.
For years, Amelia thought he just rode Metro North all day. I had accompanied him on several take your daughter to work days, so I could confirm that he made it to the office, but not much else. We knew he'd secretly gone to Woodstock, and our grandma still didn't know. But we couldn't picture him being that cool or rebellious. I didn't understand why he was working such long hours, but still drove the bomb, and still wore pants with ink stains all over. He was kind of a mystery. Our friends from high school used to brag about Ed sightings, and seemed to think he was in the CIA. And for our dad, the lack of understanding was a mutual thing. We were more interested in horses than baseball. We wanted to actually spend money on clothes. And we wasted a lot of time on this terrifying device in the attic that we called the computer. When I was maybe 9, I came down to the city with him for the March of Dimes. It was a 5K walk, but Ed kept calling it 20 miles, and nobody argued with him. I met some of his EY colleagues who were eager to hear stories of off-duty Ed. You know my dad, he never talks. I said, they looked shocked, disbelief written clearly all over their faces. I learned 3 things that day. The first thing was that my dad thought that donuts and hot dogs were an appropriate breakfast for a small child. 2, that he's either bad at math or an unbelievable liar, because a 5K is not 20 miles. And that he has a secret identity that we knew nothing about.
So Ed and I really bonded, ironically, when I went away to college. I attended the University of Virginia, and about a month after I moved down there, he called me up to tell me that, by total coincidence, he was going to start recruiting for EY at the UVA Business School. What are the chances? So we came to Charlottesville about once a semester after that, starting a grand tradition that continues today of taking my friends and me out to expensive dinners and getting us very drunk on very good wine. In broken Spanish. I'm still not sure why that happened. She doesn't speak Spanish at all.
Nor does Ed.
But they understood each other perfectly. Anyway, we've been living on dining hall food and watered down keg beer, and Ed was our savior. He was also a lot more fun than I'd ever realized. When my graduation came around, Ed went all out. Jenny's graduation party was so lame, he announced. Sorry, Jenny, it kind of was. So my parents rented a house in town, and they threw a huge party. Multiple kegs, Marty cheating at beer pong, the whole 9 yards. It was the least lame graduation party ever, and it cemented Ed's reputation as, well, the man. And just to show you, I have a picture of him being the man at my wedding. So I don't know if you can tell, but he's in the center of a group of 20-somethings dancing a shout. It was pretty awesome.
Ed is still a little bit of a mystery. He loves to tell stories, but never actually talks about himself. He still has those pants with the ink stains. And in a lot of ways, we're nothing like him. Amelia loves sleeping in and can't keep a secret to save her life. I don't drink and am incapable of doing long division. But the apple didn't fall far from the tree. We're both highly punctual, quick to laugh, and very clumsy. And probably worst of all is, Amelia puts her wrist under her nose when she's stressed out. She called me during her first finals in her first semester at college, and she was like, Jenny, something terrible happened. Are you pregnant? Are you flunking out of school? What happened? She goes, no, worse. Ed has had a long and illustrious career. You'll hear more about that later tonight, and we learned so much from him. So Dad, to honor the example you've set for us, we put together the following list that we like to call everything we ever needed to know about being successful we learned from Ed Pisani. Number 1, always employ a personal touch. Avoid overusing email. In fact, avoid using email entirely. Actually, just never touch a computer ever.
If you must write an email, just dictate it to Margie and she'll type it out. But be sure to look over her shoulder while she does it because she can't be trusted not to introduce her.
Be responsive. No matter what time zone you're in, respond to all voicemails within 2 hours. If someone doesn't pick up the phone, either call them repeatedly until they relent, or leave a long, droning message that makes you sound like a malfunctioning robot.
We get those too.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with a team of people that you respect and trust. I think this is why several of my friends, my husband, 2 of my cousins, and a bunch of their friends have all gotten jobs through my dad. Some people call it nepotism. Ed just calls it good business.
Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Sadly, it seems like Ed has never accomplished his dream of becoming a befuddled history professor.
If you prepared sufficiently for a meeting, you can just sleep through it.
Be ready for the worst at all times. Bring an umbrella everywhere. You will probably lose it after drinking too much at dinner, but you had it in the first place, and that's what really counts.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. Have you heard the one about my dad knocking out the pickpocket with that umbrella that he carries around all the time? I rest my case.
Always have the right tools for the job at hand. For example, this one time a mole got into our house, wreaking havoc and causing the cats and dog to run around like wild animals. When our mom asked our dad for help, he replied, "I can't. I'm not wearing any shoes." And then he went upstairs to check his voicemail.
Don't be afraid to show emotion. When Ed met Derek Jeter, he looked as happy as he did when Jenny and I were born.
Jeter doesn't look too happy.
Jeter's thinking these are 2 retired superstars, and I think this guy's outshining me right now. Anyway, I actually think he might have looked happier because he has 2 daughters and there's only 1 captain.
If people genuinely like and respect you enough, you can forego pretty much all normal etiquette. Wear a sweater vest to a black tie vest. Or, and this is my personal favorite, eat directly from the chafing dishes at catered parties. No one will say a thing.
When you're really angry, talk in the 3rd person. It's terrifying and people listen to you.
And finally, be modest about your accomplishments. Seriously, what did our dad do for a living? We have no idea, but this is a pretty